So today I wanted to touch on the subject of behaviors and aggression. Oftentimes you don't hear parents of special needs children talk about the subject because it's a difficult subject to approach. It's also, to some, they don't want their children to be seen in a negative light. You know, they're already struggling with the concept of their child having special needs. So, to talk about some of the negative things that possibly stem from the condition, it's a difficult subject. But my purpose today of sharing some of my experiences and some of the aggressive behaviors that CJ displays is to help other parents, to help them know that they're not alone, to help them, understand different ways that they may be able to deal with it from an emotional level as well as from a physical level. I also want to, allow family and friends and the general public in to something they may not even realize. So, hopefully this will help them to build a rapport with a parent and kind of understand really what they're going through when they're dealing with their child. So CJ's aggressive behavior started probably around 4 or 5 years of age. It started out with pulling earrings, pulling glasses, pulling hair of others, biting, scratching. So those were the things that we saw evident from CJ. A lot of times he would do it if the noise around him was too loud, or he would do it when he was frustrated. So, it was a shock to us because, here goes this little guy in stature, because he's fairly small for his age. Yet he was really powerful. He was really strong, and it was hard to kind of fight him off and push him back or restrain him because he was so strong. So, for me, I had bite marks on me where, my skin was broken or whatever, and sometimes I have it all on my hand, my arms, so it would be pretty evident of what happened. Also, what he would do is he would headbutt. So in any given time when he was close to you, he would just headbutt you. And that's what he did to me on several occasions. He would headbutt me in the chest area as well as in the mouth. So plenty of times my mouth was bleeding, or I thought I was going to lose a tooth because of it. And then I did sustain a pretty serious injury to my collarbone. I didn't know at the time that I had an injury, but later on in years, around 2004, I started experiencing pain in my collarbone area. I would wake up and I wouldn't be able to move my arm. I couldn't lift it up. Sometimes if I did a certain wrong move, I would feel my collarbone pop. And so, doctors, I went to the doctor several times. They really couldn't see what was wrong, but from what we gather, a doctor believes that maybe I suffered a hairline fracture. And so it just keeps re-injuring. So if I do any heavy lifting, then I wind up re-injuring my collarbone, which impacts my ability to lift or, lift my arm, function on a day-to-day level. So I'm pretty much incapacitated. I've been given now an arm sling, so when it happens, put my arm in an arm sling so I will minimize the movement and hopefully it will heal quicker. The other option I was given is to pretty much have surgery again, re-break the bone and fuse it back together properly, position it properly. But you can really have some serious injuries based on your child's aggressive behavior. So for me, the problem with the behavior escalated when I had my daughter Taylor. CJ was approximately 6 or 7 years old, and oftentimes when we would ride in the car, I had an Acura Integra, so both children had to be in the back seat together. Oftentimes while I'm driving, middle of the road, CJ would just all of a sudden lunge towards Taylor and start attacking her, pulling her hair, scratching her, biting her. And I would just have to pull over real quick and just stop wherever I am and get out the car and pull them apart from each other. So at that point in time, I knew I had to change the sitting arrangement, even in my car, my vehicle. So what was I going to do, So, a car purchase is not a little purchase, but I had to. So within a week's time, I had to purchase a minivan just to accommodate so each child could be on their separate row. So even to this day, I have the minivan. CJ sits in the back. of the van in the back row, and then the other two children sit in the middle row, and then I'm in the front, of course, driving. So that's where we have to position things on a regular basis for him. But it really got to a point where, I feared for Taylor and her safety, because in any given time, and it even became a problem where it wasn't even where he was frustrated. It just happened. We don't know why. I don't know what he was thinking at the time. Something could have triggered it. I don't know. CJ, he doesn't display aggressive behavior all the time. It kind of goes in ebbs and flows. So we can have, 5 months of no aggressive behavior, and then all of a sudden we have 1 or 2 months of fully aggressive behavior. You just never know. And so even up until recently, he started to display some more aggressive behavior. So CJ and his sister, they share a room. So plenty of times now, when she's sleeping, he all of a sudden bites her for no reason, and she wakes up screaming. So at this point now, she has to sleep in my room, and I allow him to sleep in the room alone just to protect her. There's been times where he gets frustrated with something, and he will lunge for, Christian, which is 2 years old. And then when Taylor's trying to help Christian, he'll lunge for Taylor. So then I come in and I try to protect both of the kids, and I have to have them go to another room while I deal with CJ. And plenty of times, even recently, there's been a really bad situation where CJ, he was on top of me and he was attacking me. And so, we deal with those situations and no one would even know. But it gets to a point of you having to really figure out strategies on how to diffuse situations, on how to even retreat in some situations. So now what I do is, if things get loud or if I see he's kind of off a little bit, I make sure that the kids are a little separate from him, or that there's distance. When he gets frustrated, my main goal is to get the younger kids away for the moment so that they won't be injured, and to kind of calm down CJ. And, before, when you're dealing with it, my first initial reaction is, stop, CJ, stop doing that, But the tone of voice and things like that can escalate the situation. I found that trying to approach him and engage him in a calm manner, in a soothing voice, is the best way to cope and deal with his aggressive behavior. Talking to him, talking him down, basically, and saying, I know that you're frustrated, calm down, and just really try to work with him. If he's really aggressive, though, then the best way is to retreat yourself and not even engage him at that time, because you're liable to be hurt. I just allow him and give him space and time. So either in his room, I allow him to go in his room and try to get him in that safe place. And then that's how we deal with it. It's a very difficult subject. A lot of times, you don't want to tell these things to people because you don't want them to be fearful or fearful of watching your child. But you have to be honest. That's the best way they learn how to handle your son or your daughter. It's the best way for them to really understand what you're going through. And for me, like with daycare providers, I tell them up front, be careful with him around younger kids, or be careful because he bites, or he, may get frustrated if it's loud. I give them warnings because you don't want to be liable for somebody else's injury as well. So it's best to always be upfront, and I always do that when someone's taking care of CJ. I let them know what to watch out for, basically. Because even that aggressive behavior manifests itself in the doctor's office. A lot of times CJ, if a doctor's trying to examine him or get closer, he will pull their hair, he'll pull the stethoscope, anything they have, he'll pull in the doctor's office. So there's been plenty of times I've been in the doctor's office with him, and I've tried to let them do blood pressure, and he'll pull my hair and I see a chunk of my hair on the floor, sometimes. So that's just, what we deal with, but we make the best of the situation. For me, the younger kids, they understand. So when mommy says, hey, time to go to another room, or if I do it in a panic or a haste of get to another room, they go immediately because they know. So just really try to have a strategy, You know how, you get prepared for an emergency, a natural disaster, and you have strategies, and, where you go in the doorway or hide under a table, or you have all these tools and strategies. Do that when it comes to dealing with your child when they display aggressive behavior. It's the best way to keep yourself safe, and it's the best way to keep others safe. So the next subject I will discuss on the next video blog will be self-stimulatory behavior. See you next time.